Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little different because I was actually sick last weekend, so I didn't really do much of anything other than sitting around and watching some TV and doing a lot of sleeping. However, I'll share with you a mini grocery haul and some of the meals I made this week. And I'll also share with you one of my favorite wintertime pleasures. Every year in January, I try to do as low of a spend month as possible. And one of the ways that I do that is by using my Sam's cash that I've accrued over the year. Unfortunately, I spent some of my cash in November, but I still had about 30 bucks left over. I got this 2-pound bag of organic broccoli for $5. I use broccoli a lot. It's one of our favorite vegetables, so I'm going to use this with rice, noodles, all kinds of dishes. And then this is always one of my Sam's Club favorite finds, and I am out of carrots. It's 5 pounds for $3.35, which is an amazing deal for carrots. So I have that. I'll use that in lots and lots of different ways. Soups, stir fries, things like that. And then of course, I had to get some of these tomatoes because I also use those in everything. And then I picked up some Fuji apples. These happen to be my favorite at the moment, and I'm still in an apple eating phase. I usually eat at least one of these a day, and it's usually on my car ride home from work. Okay, then I had a fun item. I saw this Green Goddess seasoning mix. It was about $4. I actually haven't tried this yet. I know that the Green Goddess dressing is very popular at Trader Joe's, so when I saw this, I was definitely interested in it, and I looked at the back to see if it was something I could simply make myself, but there were a couple of ingredients in here, like lemon oil and I think some chopped onions that I wouldn't readily have. So I went in and got that. I'm just going to play around with that this week and see what I can make with it. And I really wanted avocados, but when I got there, they were out. So I was really bummed about that because I've been out of avocados for a while now. And then I wish I would have picked up some coleslaw. It's such a great deal, and I use cabbage in so many things these days, but I just forgot about it, and I wasn't allowing myself to peruse the aisles like I normally do just because I wanted to get what was on my list and then leave. There are some things that are just standard buys for me at Sam's Club, and this coleslaw and those avocados are definitely on that list. And since I haven't been eating much oatmeal, I decided to maybe try to make some apple oatmeal pancakes. But this time I decided to add in some protein. I think one of the reasons I'm not eating oatmeal more is just because when I go to work, I want to have something that's filling and keeps me full until lunchtime. And unfortunately, oatmeal just doesn't usually do it for me. But I'm hoping with the addition of the protein that this is going to be a more lasting meal. And I'm also hoping that with the addition of the apples, it's going to make it a little more interesting for me. I tend to like oatmeal better if I add some kind of fruit to it. And I don't think I've ever tried it with shredded apples. And since I have apples, I thought now would be a good time to try. And I'm just going to add a teaspoon of baking powder and then about a half teaspoon of baking soda. And then I found this apple in the fridge that's getting old. I think my son got that. It's a pink lady. Or I could use one of my Fuji apples, which I know is going to taste a lot better. And I have learned that using tastier fruit in your cooking is the way to go because you tend to like it better. And actually, I wish I had a Granny Smith apple because I do love the tartness. And I think that tartness would be great with the oatmeal. If you guys remember when I made the regular pancakes and then I used a Granny Smith apple, I glazed that with some sugar on top. That was so good. I still remember that. I love that sweet and tart combination. And oatmeal is kind of heavy on its own, I think. It's a little too rich for me. So I think fruit just naturally kind of makes it more palatable. Anyway, I have a small amount of apple left over. I'm going to cut this up and dress the top of the oatmeal pancakes with that, but I put it in a little bit of water to keep it from turning brown. And then I'm just going to add the shredded apples straight into the mixture. I'm always trying to come up with new ideas for healthy options for breakfast. I generally like to try to eat as healthy as possible throughout the week, and then if I'm going to eat anything bad, it's going to be on the weekend. And by weekend, I mean Saturday. You know, they say it's not what you do all of the time, it's what you do most of the time that matters. And that's a philosophy that I've had in my life in everything. I don't want to be so strict that I don't enjoy certain things some of the time. I have some cacao powder too. So if this ends up working out, maybe I'll try another version of this with the cacao powder, which is just like cocoa powder. And then usually when I'm making like something chocolate like that, I like to have it with berries. And I do usually keep berries in the freezer. So that may be another version of this. And I'm going to go ahead and taste it and see if it is where I want it to be. And it tastes just about right. It has the perfect amount of sweetness, but obviously you might want yours a little sweeter. Since I am going to be using a little maple syrup on top with the apples, then I really don't feel like I need it any sweeter than it already is. And if you make these at home, you just have to keep adding water. If you let it sit for a few minutes before you cook it, you'll probably have to add a little bit more just as that oatmeal thickens. If you wanted to, you could have added some vanilla to this mix also. I think adding blueberries would have been really nice also. My friend recently went to Vancouver and he brought me back this maple syrup. One of my favorite ways to use maple syrup these days is just to have it over some toast with peanut butter and then a little sesame seeds on top. And it's just so delicious. But I thought it would also be good on top of some pancakes. I like the way it's not overly sweet. I'll eat 2 for my breakfast now, and then I'll set the rest aside for tomorrow. I have enough batter left over for at least 2 more pancakes. And I do want to note that you don't need maple syrup, obviously, for this. If you just have some brown sugar or even regular sugar and some fruit, then just sweeten the fruit and then put that on the top. Or you can make your own syrup, like I said, with brown sugar. I can't tell that there are shredded apples in the inside of the pancake. It just tastes very moist. The flavor is lightly sweet, and I do like the addition of the sliced fresh apples with it. It helps to make it less of a heavy meal and just more balanced. And I do like the addition of the cinnamon in this. For the second ones, I didn't cook those as long, so I think they had a little bit better color. But I also tried one of these the next day with a little peanut butter with the sliced apples on top, and that was good as well. I'm thinking about making a few of these up to add to the freezer, and I would also like to try the protein powder, which is some regular pancakes, and see how I like that as well and how that makes me feel. I enjoy all seasons of the year. I find something to love about each one. Winter is always special because it's my tea drinking season. I've come to associate drinking tea as a luxury because when I'm drinking hot tea, I'm usually relaxing and enjoying some reading. You guys may remember when I told you how the people I work with are big gift givers, and one of my friends bought me this cherry blossom tea from Harney & Sons Fine Teas. I thought it was such a great gift, and it kind of was a gateway for me to exploring some other teas myself. I had a friend that moved to Arkansas from California, and it's been really cold there. So I thought it would be nice to send her some teas. And I found that the most affordable way to do it was to order some of these through Amazon, because then I had free shipping. If I ordered them from the Harney & Sons website, then obviously it was going to cost a lot more in shipping, and it was going to take a great deal longer to get these. So I ordered us both the same teas, and I thought it would be just a fun little experience to kind of bond us together over space, her being so far away. And most of all, I love that you can send a thoughtful gift like this for about $5. The cherry blossom is a caffeinated tea and has a very delicate flavor. The vanilla Chamorro is probably my second favorite here. It has a rich vanilla flavor, but it's also very delicate. But I love this. I would definitely buy that one again. And then my favorite happens to be this decaf hot cinnamon. This is a very bold tea, and at first I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but it's actually grown on me and I love it. I look forward to my weekends and having my hot cinnamon tea. It's just really, really good. And I noticed that they had this variety in several different names, so they all look like they had about the same ingredients though, with this hot cinnamon, the black tea, and the cloves. And it has just turned out to be my favorite. The tins come with these little sachets, and it comes with about 20 sachets per box. But I thought the tins were so cute that I'll probably use those for other things afterwards. And then I have my favorite tea drinking glass that I got from Temu quite a while ago. And I also have some sugar cubes that I purchased. So when I got this for my friend, I was afraid that maybe she wouldn't have any sugar in her house. So I decided to send her some sugar cubes along with the tea. And I just wanted some simple, plain white sugar cubes, but I was having difficulty finding them on Amazon. And as it turns out, even Walmart doesn't sell these. So I ended up buying these European style sugar cubes that are actually made in the US in Seattle, but they were quite expensive, but that's okay. I wanted to go ahead and send these because, like I said, I wasn't sure if she would have them in her house, and I wanted her to be able to just make herself a cup of tea. For myself, I picked up this Sugar in the Raw turbinado sugar cubes, and turbinado sugar is a little bit less refined than white sugar. It's a raw sugar that still contains some of the molasses. So I thought this would be good. And then this little container I picked up at H Mart. I had a glass container in mind, but then again, I really didn't want to spend much money. And so when I saw these at H Mart, I thought they were perfect. And they had a few different varieties. They had this kind, which had a bigger scoop, but I didn't like the shape of it as much. And then ultimately I ended up choosing this one. They had some other things at H Mart that I thought were interesting. They had these glass cups and then these glass teapots for when you have the loose leaf teas. But they had a nice selection if anyone is interested in browsing. They had good prices. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but other cultures have a lot more to offer in the sugar department. I've noticed such a variety of sugar cubes in the different stores that I'm in. This was in H Mart, but the Persian market that I shop in frequently also has such a wide variety of rock sugar, and they all look different. They have different colorings on each one, and I'm just so fascinated by them. I do want to try exploring a little bit more and learning about the uses for these types of sugars. The little scoops are too small, really. I think what I need are some little tongs, but I've just been using my hands. And then I have this tiny little bowl that I use for my spoon. A few years ago, my sons got me this Hamilton Beach kettle, and I have loved this so much. I've used it literally every day since they gave it to me. And I started drinking instant coffee, which Taster's Choice is my favorite. But this is also great for lots of food items as well. Like if you're going to make instant mashed potatoes, you could use this for cup of noodles, hot chocolate. There are just so many times that this has come in handy for me. And actually, it's interesting because I was watching this video all about tea. It was a video on YouTube by a tea sommelier, which is an expert in tea. And he said that you should never pour boiling water over tea because it can impact the flavor of the tea. Apparently, this is something that is debatable because some people say it's fine to pour boiling water over black teas, but it's the lighter colored teas that are more delicate. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. My friend at work is very into teas. She made me this flowering tea and it was so interesting. What happens is you buy these round tea balls and then you put it in the water and it basically blooms into this beautiful display. And I thought the tea was good, but I think it's really more for the aesthetic of it, but I could be wrong. I only have the experience with the one tea, and like I said, it was good, but it wasn't as good as the other varieties that I tried. So anyway, I've been enjoying my teas and reading, and I want to thank you all for contributing to my reading list. I appreciate all the suggestions. You have all been such a great resource for me, and I love the community that we have here and how we're always exchanging ideas, whether it be for budget cooking or anything else. And then this weekend, I made Kara's famous peanut butter ramen again. I was out of the toasted sesame seeds, but I had picked up this bag of raw sesame seeds a while back for just a few bucks. And so I decided to toast these. And this was my first time toasting sesame seeds. I probably should have had a bigger pan and spread these out a little bit better, but it was so easy to do. And oh my gosh, if you've never roasted sesame seeds, they are so delicious and so much better than the kind that you buy in the bottle. I think that the kind that you buy in the bottle are just have been kind of dried out a bit, but these were so intense and they made that ramen so delicious. I haven't always lived in areas where I could purchase the raw sesame seeds, but now that I do, I'm going to be toasting my own from here on out. They're so good when they're fresh. Anyway, guys, I know this was an unusual video, but thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you Sunday. Windows are open, wanna feel the wind blow through my hair. Would
Which way do I follow? What happens tomorrow? I turn to you and hope you can guide the way. Sometimes I give up, just wanna be on my own. Even in the darkest times, you give me hope. So